The dollmaker's apprentice, Alara, had always been drawn to the bizarre and macabre. While other art students chased the latest trends in digital design, she was fascinated by the forgotten arts, by the quiet menace in a well-crafted puppet, or the unsettling perfection of a porcelain doll. So, when she stumbled upon a job posting that seemed almost too good to be true, she didn't hesitate. An apprenticeship with a reclusive, world-renowned dollmaker, Silas, who promised to teach the true art of replication. The workshop, hidden deep within a narrow, forgotten alley, was a collector's dream and a hoarder's nightmare. Dust motes danced in the single beam of sunlight that cut through the gloom. Shelves reaching to the high, arched ceiling were lined with countless figures, ancient marionettes with cracked, painted faces, and porcelain dolls with unnervingly lifelike eyes. Their silent stares followed her as she moved, 1,000 tiny, unblinking observers. The dollmaker, Silas, was a hunched figure with a shock of white hair that obscured a face as wrinkled as old parchment. He never spoke, communicating only through notes scrawled on parchment, his trembling hands a testament to his age. He was a ghost in his own shop, moving with a silent, deliberate grace. He taught Gilara his craft in silence, showing her how to carve the perfect wooden limbs and paint the glassy eyes with a haunting realism that made her skin crawl. For weeks, her world shrunk to the workshop, a strange cocoon of wood, paint, and quiet dread. The silence was the worst part. The only sounds were the gentle scrape of a carving tool and the rhythmic drip of a leaky pipe in the corner. It gave her too much time to think. She started noticing things. The dolls seemed to move when she wasn't looking. A head tilted slightly differently, or a tiny hand clenched tighter. She'd dismiss it as her imagination, a side effect of the suffocating isolation. One rainy evening, the air thick with the scent of damp wood and turpentine, Alara was tasked with cleaning the workshop. Silas had retired to his private studio, a room he had strictly forbidden her from entering. His scrawled notes had been explicit. "This room is my sanctuary. Do not disturb." As she dusted a shelf, her hand brushed against a small, exquisite doll she had never seen before. It was a flawless recreation of a young man, with striking blue eyes and a faint, almost imperceptible scar above his left eyebrow. It was a masterpiece of realism. A note was pinned to its tiny wooden chest, "My greatest creation." A perfect replica of a lost memory. A flicker of curiosity, a spark of artistic jealousy, ignited in Alara. She had to see how he had done it. She crept to Silas's studio door and put her ear to the wood. She heard a low, rhythmic sound, like a deep, wet scratching. It was a sound that had no place in a dollmaker's workshop. Unable to resist, she pushed the door open just a crack. The room was bathed in a sickly yellow light from a single overhead lamp. Silas was bent over a work table, his back to her, so engrossed in his work, he didn't seem to notice her intrusion. He was not carving or painting. He was hunched over what looked like a mannequin, its body made of wood and metal. But as he turned to grab a tool from a tray, Alara saw what he was doing. He was meticulously stitching a piece of human skin onto the mannequin's face. The skin was pale, unnaturally so, and as he stretched it taut with a set of tiny surgical clamps, Alara could see the faint outline of a scar above the left eyebrow. Her mind reeled. It was the same scar from the doll she had just seen outside. Her breath hitched in her throat, a small, terrified gasp. Silas froze. The low scratching sound stopped. He slowly turned his head, a grotesque smile spreading across his lips. His eyes, once a faded blue, were now two perfectly round, glassy orbs, just like the dolls he made. He held up a tool, not a carving knife, but a cruel, gleaming scalpel. And then he spoke. His voice was a high, tinkling sound, like the chimes of a music box. It was a sound Alara had never heard from him before. "I've been waiting for a new canvas," he giggled. Alara scrambled backward, her mind racing, scrambling to put the pieces together. The lost memory wasn't a memory at all. It was the young man whose skin was being used to create the doll, and the dolls she had seen throughout the workshop. The silence she had found so unsettling, the feeling of being watched, ... They weren't just dolls. They were people. The rhythmic drip she had heard for weeks was the slow draining of their lifeblood. Silas's giggling grew louder, a sound of pure, unhinged glee, echoing in the small, cluttered room as he began to take a step toward her. His perfectly round, glassy eyes stared at her, and she knew, with a sickening certainty, that he wasn't looking at an apprentice. He was looking at a blank canvas. He had found his next perfect replica, and she was it.